Like, I'll go and stay at my parents' house for
When's the first time he ever, how old was she first met him? Because typically, dogs or puppies, when they have nervousness, typically anyone or any dog before a certain age is fine, and after that age, they shift. And it's like, okay, I have my little social group now, and everything else is like this.
Okay. Yeah.
But she never liked them from the get-go.
No, I think she did. He's also 6, so I don't know what he's projecting onto her. Because he's got his own mental side. Like,
does it change like his behavior in any way?
Yeah. He's like total bummers with right now. I mean, he's fine. He's not dying anymore. We thought he was feeling too. Kind of like short story though. Yeah.
Sure. Okay.
So now he's just like getting back. Like my mom and I are like, you're not dying.
Yeah.
Be happy. But like, I wonder if she's feeding off that negative energy. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes as we progress with this stuff. I'm going to err on the side and get her over that. And open up the phone up so whether or not you like everybody, everyone likes everybody as it is, right?
Yeah.
People that she would see on a regular basis,
yeah,
you're going to be much more likely to have success because they're regular to your life,
right?
As opposed to someone who might just provide once in a while,
sure.
Whatever.
Yeah.
It's a little different. Okay. So we're going to start with you just showing me, walking back and forth and stuff, what you remember. We'll take it from there.
Yep.
Careful, you sit down, there's like melted ice cream.
That's all.
Good turn. What's your number?
35.
Did you give her a tap there?
Yeah. I've noticed with the collar on, very rarely do I have to tap. She tends to look at me for the commands. I don't know if that means anything. Just in case, just to make her hear them.
Good. Good. You come to stop here. There you go. Very slow stop. Very good. So I could see where the taps kicked in, which is fine. They were correct. I saw one with the speeder up, and then there was one over there because she dipped off to the side, but that's with you.
Yeah.
One thing I'll discourage you from doing, not necessarily bad, but there's a little bit of subtle, like, verbal, or like, come on, communication.
Yeah.
And what we're trying to build here is she's just really focused on what you're doing that you don't even have to do.
Okay.
So the less we do that,
sure,
the more we create just default, pay attention to me at all times. Okay?
Yeah. This and my body.
Yeah. Your body language is great, you're relaxed, she'll walk with you just fine, much, much better than last year.
Yeah.
Okay, so all that's good. So we're very much sound-based, and especially like when we have a puppy, people are even more encouraged, like when you want to talk to them, and it disempowers what you're saying.
Okay.
Right? So like, especially like if you're repeating commands, you actually said heel a couple of times before you started walking, right? And if I say heel, just heel, we start going.
Okay.
Okay, and after that point, I will rarely, it's just the remoting does everything for you.
Right.
And you create much less work for yourself in the future. Okay? So all that looks good though. So what we're going to do today is formally add in the heel. command, which I think you used it correctly. You cued the word and then you started moving. I find that to be easiest for people, as opposed to trying to do it simultaneously.
Sure.
I'll just say heel first and then do that.
Yeah, okay.
Are you familiar with traditional heel?
Only through working with my cousin and his Great Dane. She heals so well with no e-collar training, so that's the only reason she even acknowledges the verbal command is through Brian and Minnie, kind of. So
how do they use it? Or what did you learn from them?
She's already 3 years old, so she's just perfect at it. So he was just saying heel, and she'd be like, if she veers, she comes back to center. It's almost like her center, her point, like is now.
Okay.
So if she starts to veer or she's sniffing and he doesn't want her to sniff, it just returns her to like home base.
Okay.
That's what he was saying.
Okay. So heel, a formal heel, is once you've cued it, there is no need to have to be challenged.
Oh, okay.
It's on. So think of obedience as clocking the dog in. So like right now I'm clocked in, I'm working for you, I'm not on my phone, I'm not smoking a cigarette, I'm not drinking beer, I'm on the clock, right? But afterwards, I could do that stuff, right? I'm on the clock at that point. Same thing for her. So think of whenever you say something, heel, sit, down, stay, come, play, whatever, she's working, and her job is to do that task and nothing but that task.
Okay. I like that.
That's how obedience works.
Yeah.
People typically approach obedience as like kind of trick stuff or like just momentary control.
Don't worry about it.
Corrective, not permanent, but yes.
Right.
Like
Permanent as needed.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
So once you cue the word heel, then I can go to the remote. Okay. Make everything reinforce it. So if I'm walking with Luna and she pulls off to the side, I would tap her and bring her in, right? Instead of saying heel. And the difference is the tapping will eventually remove that habit. She'll say, every time I wander off, this happens. And then when I come back, nothing happens, right?
Okay.
Whereas if you just say heel, she's like, all right, I'll come back in, but what's the big deal?
Right.
There's no deterrent.
Right.
And that's what we want to be deterrent. Right?
Okay.
Versus are meant to stop things or dissuade the dog from doing or repeating something. Okay? So the more you do that, you say heel once, and then that's it. You're not having to do anything else. That's why I said tell everybody, the more you use this now, the less you use it in the long term. Okay? So like my dog, on occasion, they still wear their e-collars. I can't account for life. Once in a blue moon, will I have to go, oh, get over there.
Yeah.
Right? Other than that, there's spotting. Okay? So, it's heel, and then what we also do is we move forward with our left leg first.
Closest to her.
Correct, right? So for dogs, they have a wider preference than we do. So when she sees that left leg, that cues her now we're moving.
Okay.
In more advanced training, which we'll cover, left leg means move, right leg means you don't move. When the dog is moving. So it's heel and stay. It's the difference, okay? And it sounds fancy and all that stuff. It's really just conditioning yourself and conditioning Luna to recognize these things. And it's just practice. That's all it is, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to start with just that simple exercise. You're going to say heel, then move forward with your left leg. You'll walk a little bit, come to a stop. She should auto sit. Did we cover that last time?
We didn't. She tends to do. I mean,
She does it because it looks like she did it on most of them. So when you get a dog to really focus in on the handler, a lot of times you'll create auto sits.
oh, okay.
Okay, so
Because I don't even know that I taught her. She just does it. When we're doing collar training, she just sits.
Yeah, when they're really dialed in, I see that it's not too uncommon that they'll just naturally offer it. If you don't get the auto sit, all you'll do is lightly pull up on your leash to give some tension, tap until you see her put her butt down. Okay, if she starts to spaz out, I'll coach you through it.
Okay.
So heel, left leg, walking, come to a stop.
10, 15 steps.
Yeah, and then we'll reinforce that auto sit if she doesn't do it. Wait a moment, heel, left leg. So you're only saying it when you go from stationary to motion.
Okay.
Okay, if you're already in movement and she wanders off, you wouldn't say heel again. You simply just remote to reinforce it, and if you come to a stop, she auto sits, heel. Okay, so only from stationary to motion would you actually say it again.
Okay.
Okay?
Not only do I talk to her often, which I promise you I'm breaking, that's less than I usually do because I've been acknowledging it the past week. I often make a lot of eye contact with her. Is that good or bad?
I look at it as who's leading who,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
Because I see this a lot where the
Like,
dogs will stop and then the owner will stop and they're looking at each other and I'm like, who's leading this walk here? Is it the owner or is it the dog, right?
Yeah.
So I don't mind if you check and see where she's at and stuff, but it's kind of like you want to be mindful of your environment. One, you project more leadership to her, but also you should just be aware of the environment, right? Because if someone is ill intent
Oh,
or has ill intent.
I saw that video.
Yeah, right. So that's the other reason. I'm saying
I didn't know.
otherwise,
I thought you were getting
otherwise, if it wasn't for that, then it'd be like whatever. Okay.
With the music.
Whenever you're ready.
Okay. Heel.
Tap, 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 tap. Go ahead and grab closer to the collar. Tap, tap, tap. So what you're going to do here is switch the leash to your right hand in front of you. And you're going to place yourself to her side, her other side. You want to be to her right. Okay. And now you're going to pull up with your right hand. And with your left hand, you push down the butt. Yeah. Yep. And pray. There we go. That's her nervous. So what we're going to do now, knowing that she gets a little skinny, if you cut that snap, you're going to grab, right? Make sure you're going to be cold. Then go press lightly down on the butt as you simultaneously tap. Okay? You want to prepare for that little stubble. Okay. So you brace yourself for more control. Okay, let it relax and then continue. Okay, whenever you're ready. Yep. Yeah. Yeah. There you go, and praise. Let's do 3 more. What's your number? 35? Yep.
35.
We'll keep it then.
Yep.
Good. Two more. There you go. Good girl. Praise. One more. So, I noticed something happened forward. I noticed something. Going to slow to a stop. There she goes. Good. Did you notice something about all those sits? 4 of them at least.
One's going that direction, but worse than one's going this direction. That's all I know.
Possibly. She kept running to the dirt.
Okay.
She kept sitting on the dirt.
Yeah.
Right? As it seemed like more as a form of comfort. I wouldn't allow her to do that if you continue to see that.
Okay.
Okay? Because it's like the brain saying the only way I can sit is if I sit right here.
Sit here.
And you're saying you're going to sit here.
Right. Exactly what I'm telling you.
It's a tiny little detail. But I pointed out because I was like, I noticed every time. To the dirt.
Yeah.
To the dirt. To the dirt, right?
Okay.
So like, I've had clients who their dog, like they'll have a Chihuahua and it won't lay down.
Yeah.
But it'll lay down somewhere, like in other places. And I'll say, like, will the dog lay down on the carpet? They're like, yeah. Will it lay down on the rug? Yeah. Will it lay down on the bed? Yeah. Will it lay down on the bare floor? No.
Okay.
Because it's cold to them. Like,
sure.
I'm not picking up, but I can see those differences,
but it
right?
Could be a thing.
Because people they won't relate that. They won't think like, oh, maybe it is a surface that's discouraging the behavior.
Yeah.
So the reason why we would push that is because of the nervousness. She's saying, I need this in order to do this. And you're saying, no, you don't. You can sit your butt right here.
Anywhere you want. Yeah,
exactly. Okay. So we're gonna try another batch, and when you do that, when you go to shorten your leash, okay, you want to be real close to the collar,
Okay.
and if she moves, you're gonna tap as you pull her back into this general space,
Okay.
and force the sit here, wherever. Like so, if you walk up here, right, and you go to stop her, you don't want it to happen here. I'll accept anywhere but there.
Okay.
Okay. Now there was one where she did sit, I think, nice.
Yeah.
It was one was very smooth,
Yeah.
right? So I was like, good. We want to make that be more of what she does as opposed to the pull off. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So when you closer to the collar, you have more immediate physical control. And I do that when I see stuff like that. Because there's too much slack, you're gonna just be like up here arguing with the dog, and she's gonna have all this extra space to do. Okay? So try it 4 more times.
Can I verbal SIT?
No.
Okay.
So the reason is, heel is walk with me, stay with me, sit when I stop.
Okay.
It's a bundle, it's a package.
Sure.
Okay? So if you say sit, then it becomes heel, sit, heel, sit, heel, sit, right? Repeat it. And I just want, by default, when I come to a stop, you put down. Okay? Sit is to put down, don't move. Heel is move when I move.
This is my zone. Okay.
Correct. Okay?
Okay.
Ready?
Okay. Luna, heel.
With all these helicopters.
Good. There's something going on.
Is that turn okay? Did I just kind of turn my
Don't worry
body?
about the turns, you're fine. Yep. But try getting her to sit back over in that area where she was struggling. Good.
I'm willing to start tap.
Good. 2 more. Good. Last one. Excellent. So she didn't make any
Good,
mistakes.
Luna. Good,
So,
Luna.
when you do work with her, because you mentioned earlier she was easier this way, harder that way, I think it was.
Yeah.
I didn't catch anything at that time because I was too focused on her
But
going
there's a
to
little
the...
girl sitting on the bench.
Is there? Okay.
That was the only thing I could think of.
You may be right. So how I go about this is, whenever something happens, I like take in my I call it taking a snapshot in my head, where like I see everything that happened within that moment, and I can pluck what led to the dog having the moment. Does that make sense?
Sure.
So like I had a dog, for example, we were doing recall, and then the dog was doing great, and then the dog all of a sudden scattered.
Okay.
And the owner was like, what happened, right?
Yeah.
But right when I saw the dog scattered, this happened. The wind.
Oh, the wind.
Right? And I was like, is your dog scared of wind? He's like, oh yeah. And I was like, I think it was the wind. He's like, that actually makes a lot of sense. But to the owner, they didn't catch that, right?
Sure.
But simultaneously, as the dog scattered, the wind picked up.
Okay.
So I was able to pick up on that, right?
Yeah.
So like, let's say you go to make Luna sit, or she's supposed to auto sit, and a kid simultaneously ran by.
Yep.
Then you go, snapshot, it was the kid, right? So
Yeah.
then the next time, if I see that context about to happen or happening, I can use that to my advantage.
Sure.
Right? So in terms of obedience and behavior, they don't necessarily correlate, but they do overlap sometimes. So I have 2 other dogs right now that are nervous, don't like bikes and fast moving things. So I told them, to help your dog, have them be stationary and have the bikes go by when you have the opportunity. And you'll see your dog want to do this. They're trying to move away from the bikes.
Right.
And you want to counter them and make them stay put. So they think, but their brain says, get away, and you're saying you can't, you have to be right here.
Sure.
So then they have to deal with it, but then they learn like, oh, nothing bad happened with the bikes. They're just really fast. Right? And that's what helps them get over that kind of stuff, okay? So for her, kids running around, whatever, they don't have to be right in front of her, but if you know her threshold's like 5, 8 feet, then I use that to my advantage. If you ever put in a situation where you're thinking I might need immediate control, shorten that leash just in case if there is a moment. As soon as you pull in, you're going to have that immediate response, as opposed to a completely slack leash where you're up here and she can lunge as far as that. Exactly. Okay? So, the more you walk her and stuff when you're doing your training sessions, you'll just start to pick up on things and you'll become more aware. Okay? So, I know dogs because I've worked with anxious, nervous, fearful, aggressive dogs for 10 years. So, they have traits that are fairly common. But then the owner might say, well, my dog has this little quirk. And I'm like, all right, well, you know your dog better than I do. Yeah. You can plan for those things. Okay? So, any questions about that stuff?
Nope.
So when you come to a stop, her job is to put her butt down and keep it down. Okay? If she were to lay down, you would correct that.
And how do you correct it?
By lightly pulling up, tapping until she corrects that sit. Or if she were to stand, same process. If she stands, you may have to do some pressure on the butt. So I do make sure to keep it, kick it with those that promoting.
Okay.
So obedience.
I would think she will lay before she stands.
Sure.
She tends to just lay.
That's the most dogs do that unless it's a distraction.
Yeah.
So obedience is very black and white. Her laying down isn't bad, right? And what she can do. And people typically excuse it.
She lays and she pulls
Depends.
over,
Depends, right? If it's coming from a fearful place and you let it go, allowing you to reinforce that behavior by allowing you to practice it, right? But she could just lay down because she's tired, right? So when you counter her, yes. Lightly pull up, tap, lightly. Yeah. Just enough to keep pressure, tap, and then pull her in, tap. There you go. And I'm not going to worry about positioning. Okay? I'm not going to worry about positioning. I should worry about that she put her butt down.
Right.
We're going to make it simple. Eventually, it'll get where she'll just go like this very, very easily. But if she decides to herself, I want to lay down, and you allow it to happen, she made a decision out of obedience, and then it may lead to other things. If I can lay down, I can sniff anything, I can pee on anything, move whenever I want, stop whenever I want, bark at someone, yes. The smaller things into bigger things, okay? So I don't care if the dog is down personally, but I know what it needs to do, okay? So that's why it's super strict. If you're gonna have a conversation with someone, and you're gonna be there for quite a bit, then I'll just say break. Yep. Very little pressure. Yep. What's your number?
35.
Let's go to 40. And keep your pressure how you have it. Tap. 45. Tap. Right there, near relax. Right? So, right there, you're troubleshooting. Okay, so it's not always more physical. You're trying to refrain from physical, use more remote. Remote makes you think. Okay?
What am I doing that I shouldn't be? Where's this going?
Correct. So 35 to 40 to 45, she sat up. And once she gets up and starts moving, I'll relax a moment and see what are you going to do next.
Right.
She put her butt down. That was the answer. Okay? So movement is telling you the brain is thinking. Okay? So then once I see that movement, call your dog. When you see the movement, that's her going, what do I need to do again to figure out what's your problem? Okay? So,
I love you.
I'm very direct. Yeah. So, feel free to be direct. Right? Like, this is not a dog park, this is a park. These dogs should be on leash. I don't mind off leash dogs when they're trained, because I know that's not going to happen. Okay? So, does that all make sense there?
100%.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now what we're going to do is work on the technicalities of the terms. Okay? People tend to do them naturally until I tell them to do it on purpose. And then they kind of think about it. Okay? So there's two terms. Where's that? It's going. You want to lead your turn with the leg opposite to the turn.
Okay.
If you're going to turn left, you're leading with the right. If you're going to turn right, you're leading with the left. Okay?
And is that the opposite of what I think I should do? I try to think of what I would naturally turn.
So if you're like right-handed, people tend to lead with the dominant leg, right? But when I tell them to think about it, that's when they go like, right? Okay. So the pivot, especially, people tend to do naturally. I've only had one client do it a little bit different, so it's really interesting. But if we're going to make a right turn, okay, and we're talking about a 180 turn to go backwards, you would slow down and then extend the left leg, go back to the right leg. Like that, okay? So left, right, left. Okay? Left, right, left. So that's the 180 pivot. If we're doing a crossover turn to the left, so we'll be crossing over Luna, slow down, and it's going to be right, left, right. Okay? So again, slow down, right, left, right. Correct. Okay? So the reason for the two turns is in case you don't have your space, right? So if you make a soft left turn, it would just be right, and then you keep going, right? Correct. But when you practice these turns, you're most likely going to be on a regular sidewalk, that you're not going to have the space to just do this, because then you'll be walking into the street, right? So I show people like a U-turn so they can practice with the sidewalk, and then when it comes to life, you can apply it. Okay? So, questions? We're going to start with the crossovers first, because that's the hardest thing. Okay? So you're going to use the word heel, forward that left leg, and then as you're walking, slow down at least 3 steps, then go to cross in with your right leg. Okay? You're cutting at a 90-degree angle, then left, and then right again, like that. Okay? So if you use the cracks of the sidewalk, if this was a regular sidewalk, it's a really good guide. So you walk on the side here, right, left, right. And you'll typically be right within the width of a sidewalk, and you just use the cracks to guide you. People tend to do soft steps, like this. Okay, this little soft step here, and then you're kicking out your left leg, and then you're kicking out Luna. It's a very pronounced right leg, so she sees it, and you'll see her naturally start to divert. There, it makes space for you like this. Okay? We'll start with the crossovers first. 5. If we're all good, then we'll go to the pivots. Okay, whenever you're ready. Good. Right, left, right. Now it's better. And maintain. Don't be afraid to walk through. You know, keep your path. Okay. Right, left, right. There you go. Much better. One more. Right, left. Yeah, lead it through. Lead it through. There you go. Let's try one more. That was a good recovery. You got it. There you go. Good. Let's slow stop. Okay. So when you're crossing over, you know, you may have the context where you might fly. Okay. Most people, I walk right on through. Okay. Not too deep. But let's say you did bumper. I don't know if you saw it, she like kind of went like this, right? That's the nervousness. And people feel bad, and they create a bubble to protect them, and it makes them more insecure. And if you're ever been to a dog park, you'll see dogs like walk on the roads, like bump on the dog side. Yeah, my kid does that all the time.
Okay.
They don't care, right? It lets other dogs know this is who I am, right? But it also toughens up insecure dogs.
Okay.
Okay?
Nice.
So when I move in, she goes, oh, right?
Right.
Oh my God, physicality. And you just keep moving and she has to recover. She goes, oh, okay, well, mom bumped into me, but I'm okay.
Fine.
Yes. Right? So that last one, the fifth one that you did, it was good. Like you tripped up a little bit, but you powered through it. Okay? The other thing is if you stop because you're thinking of trying to reset, you allow her to get more confused.
Okay.
Okay, so it's like make a decision to go with it, okay, and then recover along the way. So, like last week, there was a lot of her just going like all over the place, right? And you had to maintain the path. Otherwise, if you kept stopping to reset, you would not have gotten this, right? So, if that happens, I only stop if I absolutely have to. You know, like, oh shit, you might I have to stop, right? Otherwise, I keep powering through to help her. Okay, because she's looking at you as what are you doing? What are you doing, right? So if she sees you and you like, what are you doing? Then it's both of you guys like looking at each other, right? So you always want to be sure that once you get a direction, you're going. Okay? If she mixes it up or messes it up or whatever, then you go into how do I get you back to the correct position? Okay? And sometimes we have to do things that are not obedient to correct. That's fine. Okay? You have to be more clear back in mind. That makes a lot of sense. Right? Now we're going to do minutes. The minutes are going to be the ones, of course, are going to be opposite now. Left, right, left. Okay? So if you do this correctly, you should stay within the same path.
So I'm going like shifting my weight and then that turns inward.
No, turns outward.
Okay.
Right? So it's what you've been doing. Because you've been doing this, right? As you pass, you're just doing this. Okay? But this is an about turn when Luna's paying attention.
Okay.
The pivots, the abrupt pivots, are when she's not paying attention. Yeah, because there's no point in like taking the time to show her because she's already over here. Okay? But if you're walking with Luna and she's being mindful and matching your lead, she should be pretty good. Okay? What you see is you figure out how the way is like so before going back, that we're moving together. Okay? Got it? Left, right, left. Correct. Good. Left, right, left. There you go. Try one more. There you go. Slow to stop. Beautiful. There you go. So, heel is all of this. Okay? So last week we worked on Luna, paying attention to what you're doing. Okay? Now that we have her attention, it opens her up to see what you're going to be doing, right? Are we turning left? Are we turning right? Are we turning stop? So her job is to watch you. Your job is to communicate what you're doing so that she doesn't mess up. Okay? It's like driving. You have blinkers, you know, you have all these lights in the car that communicate to other drivers what we're doing so that we prevent things from happening, right? Ideally, if everybody's paying attention and everybody's communicating correctly, there should be no collisions. Okay? It's the same thing with the wheel. So every time you stop, every time you're about to turn, you're always slowing down prior forever. Okay?
Yep.
Forever. So if you're walking for 20 minutes and you just stop, it's gonna go.
Right.
Right? It's too abrupt. And almost always when I have a client, they'll come back and they'll say, I'm like, how's it going? They're like, oh, like the left turns. It's really hard to do left turns. And the dog's always ahead of me. And I'm like, yeah, they shouldn't be. And I'm like, what are you not doing? They're like, I tap. And I'm like, tapping what? And I'm like, I'm tapping. And I'm like, right. So let's say you're coming to a red light. You know you're going to stop. You stop, the Luna keeps going. Most people pull the dog back and then have them sit. They're thinking, well, it's a red light. We'll stop anyways. Right? That's the human logic.
Sure.
Obedience, however, says you have to correct that behavior.
So when do you do pivot?
Yeah, because you're coming to a stop, right? She keeps going, then I pivot. And pivot again, slow down, and come to a stop. She should stop with me. It's your job to reinforce the behavior. Okay? So if she gets out of line, even if you did your job, you slow down, you communicate correctly. She didn't pay attention. That's what I come to the point. Okay? The more you get that out the way now, again, the less you have to do. Okay? And I don't mean like absolute perfect positioning, but I do want at least the general like right arm should be parallel to your left leg. Okay?
I would like to walk up free with a leash held like this, as long as she's in the net.
So that
I think if like the leash is like this, then I'm comfy. Is that okay for her? It shouldn't have to be like neck to hip. I mean, at first she should.
So if you want off-leash obedience, you have to have neck to hip. Okay? If you said I just walk her on a leash, then I would say I don't care. Okay? Because if you don't have neck to hip, that little gap becomes this, becomes that. Okay? So that's the reason for having the tightness. Okay? But it doesn't have to be like this sit here, like this is a very sloppy, like
Sure.
sit. I don't care. She's been holding that sit for like 24 minutes now. That's what I care about.
Right.
Is the function of it, right? For heel, I don't need the dog looking like this all the time, right? But I do need that right shoulder to that left leg to keep them lined with me. General rule of thumb is about 3 to 6 inches. No more than that in terms of gap. There's a little bit of a bigger gap today. I'm going to ignore it for now to see if that comes up as we work with her more, okay? Because her nervousness isn't going to allow her to progress and take in things and concepts like a dog without that issue, those issues would. Because, hard to say, she, like, the sitting, remember how she was like doing this with her butt and everything? She had no idea what to do. So her stress response was, I don't know what to do, I'm going to get nervous, I'd be flighty. And we worked through a few of them, and now she's sitting on her own, no issues, right? Because now she's figured it out. Exactly. So you know, if we didn't have it, it was real quick. She's just getting all the stuff objectively when you get from it. Okay? But that's how we work these things. So now what we're going to do is same thing, but now you're going to use everything interchangeably. You're going to say heel, left leg, speed up, slow down, stop, crossover turns, and pivots. But you're going to just like freestyle and say, okay? If all your communication is correct and Luna is paying attention, there should be no problem. Okay? So if you're going to cross over her and she's over here and it's not going to work out, we don't continue. Tap.
Okay.
Back. Okay? If you're coming to a stop and she keeps going, pivot, tap. You're back. Okay? So you automatically, by default, jump into those correctional turns if she's not lining up. Okay? Questions?
Nope.
If you're ready.
I'm certainly going to make her go that way. Luna heel.
Nice, good job. Good turn. slow before that pivot. Slow. There you go. Very good. Turn. Good. Slow slap. Excellent. So the taps, the only taps that I saw was that she was veering off of me.
Yeah, could you see? I couldn't catch why she did
She just decided to.
Okay.
Right. So like there's that one that was right there.
Yeah.
And you just tapped it. She shot it. That's what we wanted to. Okay. So we wouldn't say heel there. Just tap it. Okay. As you progress with this command, technically, like me personally, I always say heel to stop the motion. But I've had people in the past not like to have to say it that frequently. So they'll say, like, do I have to always say heel to stop the motion? No, technically no. Heel turns everything on. And as long as you move forward with that left leg, you stop after that first heel, the dog should just automatically. But if I go from heel 20 minutes, whatever, then go into a break mode, and the dog's free, I'd have to say heel.
Again, yes, we're
Start.
doing that.
Yeah. So,
And I started doing break a lot. She was concerned if she was allowed to go to the bathroom during a heel. So I just made it clear that, yeah, and sometimes I had to bend down and give her like love to make her understand she was on the break.
sure.
So, but then she got it break.
Yeah. So that's fine. So now she's got an on switch, which is the heel, and the off switch. Right? Now let's say you're walking with Luna, she's in the heel, and you're on your way home, but let's say she's being a little pushy, and you can't reinforce it. Like similar to last week, you would simply say break, and then she can forge home.
Okay.
It doesn't matter.
Do I want to let her forge home?
As long as you said break, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
Right? So what does matter is if you say heel, and then you're like, oh crap, I don't have enough time. And then you just let her start forging without any clear defining
Right.
that undoes your training. Okay. So like some of my clients, let's say it's a Sunday, maybe they walk to Oz Park, they want to just go very lazy, right? I don't say that. Right? They can just go to the park. I'm not saying heel. It's like you can sniff it. And they may pull because there's no formal command, right? That's all on the table technically. And it doesn't because they did not say that. Right? So as long as you keep that rule, you're perfectly fine. You only train when she's under command, you allow things to happen. So like right now when she laid down, you went to correct it, had you allowed it to happen. Yes, because you're in a heel command.
Yep.
So you just do that word break, and then it's whatever. Right? Even if she doesn't shift. So like, let's say when we get to stationary stuff, you tell her like, go to your bed, right? And then 2 hours later you decide, okay, break. She might just stay on the bed, right? That's technically an option, right? You just said, okay, you're done. She said, fine, I'm going to stay here. Again, perfectly fine, okay? Question about any of this stuff?
Is she doing it? If she's good?
Yeah, she's doing really good.
Okay.
So a big improvement from last class.
Yes. Working very hard.
Everything. I like that you got the flap like a collar.
Yes. Well, this is great. I usually don't wear it every day, so now I wear it every day. I'll have to get another one.
So it's a very nice one with that leather.
It's vegan leather.
Vegan leather.
I'm one of them.
Are you vegan?
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
She's not. Don't worry.
Thank you.
No, she's a canine. Why would she be?
You'd be surprised.
I've heard a lot.
Yes.
Canine.
Surprised.
That's. I can live as a vegan chihuahua.
Correct.
That's not for me.
Canine.
That's just canine.
Protein. Meat.
Yep, you're not the same.
So here, in terms of anything during this week that you've seen that was like behavior on the walks.
No, really good on the walk. She's walking, which is great.
Oh yeah, the slapping stuff. Have you seen it?
No, she still is not like as avid as a walker, but I think we're building to that. She will go for walks in the middle of the day now when we're out about she would. If it was noon on a Wednesday and I had a break from work, she would walk. She would run to the garden with potty or run the so now we can go around the block, we can go 2 blocks, it's getting better. I do not eat longer for every walk, but I thought with the permission I would like to. And she was also just kind of building it. Like she was just so skittish, but now that she's more familiar with it, I think I'm going to do it. And then my question was, we're going to go to the park across the street to play, across like from Nash's house. Can I put it on without using it? Because we haven't done recall training, but I would like her to be aware that it's on, whether or not I'm using it.
So you can like call her randomly throughout the day,
Yeah.
not you. Right? So what a lot of people do is now you're being bad, call you,
Right.
or to call her in the immediate. And that's why I say 15 minutes prior, if you can, and start your training. You don't have 15 minutes. So it's not an immediate, here it is, let's go. Right?
I've done it all the time, but I don't even put it on.
Yeah. And you can put counters, and then she starts associating to the park, and it's like I do fun stuff with this as well, right?
This is fun. Yeah.
So I don't want a robot dog. I want a confident, comfortable dog that's built with confidence in the nervous system and all that stuff, but that we have control, right? So it's like she's running around. I heard about the little fiasco on the baseball field, right? That I can call her and I know that's not going to happen. But as you get further into this training, that like takeoff shouldn't even happen in the first place.
Right.
Because we're going to have down. Okay? So we have preventative measures, so we don't even see that, but then there's also the interventive measures. Like, oh, something caught your attention,
Right.
I can get you back, okay?
Or like, yes, go chase that squirrel in that tree over there, and then immediately come back. Do you build to that, or do you never let that?
No, that's
Okay.
the dog.
Yeah.
Like my dog, I don't chase squirrels all the time.
Yeah.
Rabbits, I don't care. But when I call you, get over here and stay over here, unless I give you permission again. But if I give you another command, your job is to stay in that command until I give you permission. Okay? That's all I care about. The more control you have, the more she's going to do. Like, I can do it all. Anywhere. I don't care if it's a restaurant patio, I don't care if it's like a park that's got busy streets all over the place. I know you're not going to go anywhere, and I know I have that level of control, right? So it allows you to do so much more. Right? So, if you're going to put the collar on her for a walk, and it's a leisurely walk, it doesn't matter. But if you're going to use that heel word, everything's gone.
Yep.
Because if she like goes off and tests something, and you're like, oh crap, I need to reinforce this, but it's off.
But it's off.
Now she becomes a gambler. And she's like, hey, sometimes when this thing's on, I can actually get away with stuff.
Right. So unless I hear.
Correct.
Yep.
But you can put it on her and go for a leisurely walk, that's perfectly fine.
Just make sure. But I was going to start to put it on, and she was hard.
Oh, she should be fine. Okay. If you notice an effective behavior, like she'll shut down and come on and play, then you can remove it to let her relax. I would say, considering her body language today, just how she feels on it, I don't think other questions? To get used to these leg movements, I suggested that we get her walk, start with that body right? Do 5 heel stops, 5 heels to left turns, 5 heel to pivots. So it'll take like 5 minutes, and you probably go like small space, right? Warm up, now let's walk. The tricky part's going to be, we're walking, and I'm going to turn the left at the stop sign. And you're going to time your legs as you're closing. Yeah, slow down. At least 3 steps, 4 is fine. So you can walk super slow for 10 feet, and then make sure you get that turn right. Okay? Exactly. Okay. But always remember to slow down before stopping the turn. Everything should be fine. If you do your job and slow down, she keeps going. You go into your correctional turns. You don't have to worry about the leg movements, which is the more you're not paying attention to. Okay. if you notice anything, like let's say she's in a sit and kids are in it, you see her kind of tucked away, you know, if she gets up or anything, reinforce the sit.
Sure.
But then note that, and I start targeting it. Okay, as soon as I get this down, I start pushing things. There's no, in my experience, no such thing as too much. Unless you're teaching obedience, I do topic by topic. So like if I need a really fast recall, if I need a dog to turn really sharply, or if I'm just teaching a skill, like those are 3 different topics, right? But when it comes to behavioral stuff, where it's like, hey, just keep your hand there, don't shuffle when something runs by, that's super simple. You won't like overload her, she won't get it, okay? Other than that, she's doing really good. I'm really happy that you saw today. So good job doing your homework. Okay? Anything else?
I'm sure I know why, but sometimes we play at the park and she latches onto friends that she's playing with. So, you know, they're all mouthy or whatever, they're wrestling. Totally fine. One Aussie in particular who has a very sweet and gentle disposition, Luna tends to grab her arms her neck earlier, not let go. So I have just been helicopter parenting and yelling off, pulling, and then making them sit for a moment, and then she go back and play with Zoe. And it's fine, like Zoe's dad understands, and they're watching. Zoe's not yelping, she's yelled once or twice, but she doesn't hear anything that physically.
Okay.
And is she picking on Zoe because she needs to be brave? Like, what is going on?
Oh, it's not to make her feel brave, like a human, right?
Yeah.
Humans need validation.
Sure.
Dogs don't do that, but it's more so when they see weak energy. Dogs don't do things proactively, they do things reactively.
Okay.
So if it's like, oh, weak energy, I will weak energy. Like that's literally how the brain works, okay? Like,
Sure.
she doesn't say why, like, who am I going to hold this?
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, no, it's always Zoe, because you're right, she is the weakest energy.
So you can correct her on the caller. What I would suggest is wait until you cover the call, which will be next class.
Perfect. I just wanted to make you aware that it's happening.
Yeah.
Because I don't love it. I don't want to be that dog in the park. And this kid brings his people Aussie, and it's always like,
The caller, you can set boundaries about the things like, but we want recall because we don't want her. So it wouldn't be called to fix the problem. The reason is if I remote her and correct her to stop the behavior, if she gets spooked, if she doesn't have recall, she's going to run off. So we want to cover that first, so that if we correct her, we've already gotten that down, that I can make her come back. Okay? You'll need a 30-foot long leash.
got it.
That one already?
Yep.
Okay, so just had that with your next class. Oh yeah, that's right. You had it with your bag. You had everything.
Not at all.
So yeah, so had that with your next class. We'll start the recall stuff, and then after that we can talk about addressing it or not. It's not a big deal. I'd probably wait till the second class of recall, so like
Yeah.
otherwise, if it's just her that hussy and you put her on the long line, it's more so if you have to correct her and she runs off, you have a long leash that you can get to, right? As a precautionary measure.
Sure.
If you were in an infield area, yeah, because it's like, yeah, we correct her and she's not going to run into it. But there's outlets of stress, so that's what
I just want to make sure it's not something that I need to be like trying to work to stop right now.
No.
She's fine. It's every other dog. She's this poor little Aussie. I'm like embarrassed, you know.